Okay, let's put you to the test. There's this fella needs killing. His crime is my business. If you care, he killed a rich man in a card game down San Diego this month, right up here. Usual nonsense. But I've been paid to kill him, so I'm paying you to do it for me. If you care. But I'm hoping you're the kind of realist that knows you cannot afford to care. Because those are the kind of people that get things done in this world. Anyway, go find him. He's up somewhere near Two Crows, and put a bullet in the bastard's head.
The American West in the late 19th century was a place where law and order were often at odds with individualism. Black bounty hunters, cowboys, sheriffs, and even outlaws were a common sight, riding the trail and living by their own rules. In 1876, there were few men as feared and respected as Coyote Red. He was a legendary outlaw, known for his lightning-fast reflexes and deadly accuracy with the gun. He had earned his Native American name through his cunning and wily nature, although his origins have never been verified. Some even whispered that he had arrived from the sky on what a New Mexico newspaper at the time described as a flying will-shaped object. Such was maybe the explanation of his otherworldly skill of gun work. We find Red now in a peculiar position of being a wanted man himself, and yet at the crux of a need in his favorite town in Kansas, Two Crows. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Being wanted was nothing new to him. He had been in several scrapes with the law before, but thanks to his friendly relationship with the marshal in Two Crows, who happened to be the nephew of the Kansas governor, he could often clear his bounties. For the past few days, he had been riding alone, surviving natural predators, bushwhackers, and bounty men looking to cash in on his new hefty price tag. It was a lonely existence, but one Red had grown accustomed to over the years. Tomorrow, he would ride into Two Crows for the first time in 2 years, and see Marshal Osborne, a man he had always found to be fair and honest in his dealings. Although confident the Marshal would side with him, there was still a nagging sense of unease in the back of his mind. As he dismounted from his horse, he saw a shallow grave nearby. His worst fears were confirmed when he realized that it contained the bodies of his good friend, Marshall Osborne, and his wife. The Osbornes had always been fair and honest in their dealings with Red, and had gone out of their way to help him in the past. Seeing them lying in the grave was a gut-wrenching sight that stirred a mix of grief and rage within him. Red knew that someone had murdered the Osbornes in cold blood. His reputation as a gunslinger was well known throughout the territory, but he wasn't a mindless killer. He would only use his gun as a last resort, and only in defense of himself or others. However, he knew that he might have to resort to violence to get to the truth this time.
Couple of moves as you've been through here,
As he walked through the town, Red questioned witnesses and searched for clues. His anger only grew as he pieced together the events leading up to the Osbornes' murder.
old boy got robbed right in front of the sheriff's office out here.
He vowed to honor his fallen friend by bringing the killer to justice, no matter what it took. He had heard rumors of a new sheriff in town, one who had implemented a strict no-gun rule within the city limits. As a man who had lived by the gun for most of his life, Red couldn't help but feel threatened by this new law. But when he spoke to a witness and heard of the corruption and cruelty that this new sheriff had been inflicting on the town's people, Red's anger flared. The witness told him of how the sheriff had been taking bribes from the wealthy businessmen in town, and how he had been using his power to terrorize and exploit the less fortunate. Red knew then what he had to do. He could not sit idly by and watch as this new sheriff continued to wreak havoc on the people of Two Crows. With a heavy heart, he made the decision to eliminate the threat and bring justice to the town. As he approached the sheriff's office, he felt the weight of his decision settling on his shoulders. He knew the consequences of his actions, but he also knew that he could not allow this corruption to continue.
I'd holster that gun.